Thanks for joining us on the John Mendola Show. We're driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Center as well. Let's talk Abington Heights Powerlifting. Joining us right now is the head coach, Claude Welcome, along with senior Dalton LaCoe. Well, Claude, it's been a great year for Dalton LaCoe, who only has about a year of powerlifting under his belt, but boy, he has been off the charts good.
Oh, sure. Dalton, is really amazing. It's only started last March, so it's just been basically over a year from him. And he started at a local meet, and he went right there to a national championship and won there. And then he went to a world championship in late August, and he won the junior world championship, which goes up to people who are 18 years old. So he's really, really progressing rapidly. We just came back. He won the high school nationals. He's seen the Outstanding Lifter Award at that meet, broke 2 national records, and he's still progressing.
Well, Claude, finding this guy is like one of those things in a storybook or a book you're going to write. You see this kid out there, whether he's playing baseball, I know he's involved with track and field, but you see this kid kind of out there at Abington Heights, and you're like, hey, why don't you come on in here and try some lifting, and then kind of things just progress from there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a real find. I noticed Dalton walking by the field house all the time, and one time we invited him in to do a workout with us, and he came back again another time. Then I suggested that he just enter our local meet at Abington Heights that we held, and that's where it all started. He was amazing in his first meet. He deadlifted 400 pounds, and then he knew himself that, he had a future in powerlifting. Dalton really has been involved in baseball a lot, but with Dalton's build and his raw natural ability, I told him, and I spoke to his parents, that if he really wants to go places, powerlifting was his sport.
Well, let's welcome in Dalton LaCoe, the senior at Abington Heights. 114 pounds is the weight he competes at. Dalton, it's been a tremendous year for you, I'm sure. When you first started powerlifting, did you ever think you're going to be to the places that you went to or do the things that you've done?
No, it's been a great year. When I first started, I really just thought, I'd enter a couple of high school meets, try and do my best, and come back the next year and see how good I could do at nationals. But everything came on so fast and so well that I'm really glad everything happened the way it did.
Tell us about the type of coach that Claude Welcome is, because he's had so much success with many student athletes over the years. Is he the kind of guy that really gets into you as you're lifting? Is he just a positive guy that keeps encouraging you and tell you how good you're going to do? Tell us about his style as a coach.
Oh, yeah, Claude's real good. He, as I told you the other day when I talked to you, he really does encourage everybody. He keeps everyone positive, and he keeps everything fun. And keeping everything fun and relaxed, I think, is the main key of why he has such success with all of his lifters, is that everybody that goes to powerlifting really enjoys it. And me and Claude just had a talk with one of the girls today, and Claude asked her, when you first started, did you really think powerlifting was going to be like this? And she said, oh, no, it's way funner than what I really thought it would be. And that's why he has so much success as a coach, is because everybody clings to him and everybody really enjoys being around him, because he's such a great coach and he really does encourage us.
Dalton, you've only been with the powerlifting program there for a year, but do you get some of the younger kids coming to you and asking you for advice, or are they just kind of like watching what you're doing and they're a little bit in awe, like, oh, man, how does this guy do this?
They just joke around with me. They know that I lift pretty well, and whenever they ask me a question, I'll tell them what they need to do. But a lot of times I'm new in the sport too, same as them, and sometimes I don't know the answer to their question. I'll say, Claude's the man, go to Claude, or go to Mo Pensack or Amy Welcome, and they'll help you out. They've been powerlifting a lot longer than me, and that's the way it's been.
We're talking with Claude Welcome, the coach of Abington Heights, and, of course, we're talking with his guy, Dalton LaCoe, the senior for the Comets, and this guy has been to a lot of different places over the past year, really has ripped it up, so to speak. Coach, you see this guy named Dalton LaCoe, a young man who's a senior now, and of course you got last year with him. Talk about the records that he's been able to set, not only locally and state-wise, but nationally, and what he could do on the world level as well. And again, he's a drug-free powerlifter. They test for this stuff. It's absolutely amazing, the stuff that he's done.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the one thing I like to bring up right away is that we can compete in an organization called the USAPL. That's the United States of America Powerlifting Organization, which is a member of the IPF, International Powerlifting Federation. And they have mandatory drug testing that is the same standard as the International Olympic Committee. Dalton has participated and has taken part in the drug testing. You know, everything has come back clean. So that's one big thing in our powerlifting program at Abington Heights. Members of the team must undergo drug testing for performance-enhancing drugs. We have never had anybody take any performance-enhancing drugs. I've had some outstanding lifters in the past, and we have school records here. I have very outstanding lifters. Dalton has broken those records in those weight classes, and the records were really high up there. I just think that's, you know, one of the big things that Dalton has done is breaking the school records from some of my great athletes in the past. We knew then that he could break some of these records, and I said I had outstanding people in the past, that the future was bright from Dalton. In our last national high school meet, which was this past weekend, Dalton broke 2 national records that have stood since 1993. It's been a long time, and no one has even come close. Dalton, on his last deadlift at the National High School meet, just missed getting a 501-pound deadlift at the 114-pound weight class. He would have been the first teenager ever at 114 to deadlift 501 pounds. And he still has over a year to go to complete that lift, and he will try to attempt that again at the end of April when we go to Philadelphia for the state high school championship. We just came out of the meet today, and we were taking it easy. Dalton did a 460-pound deadlift, which was just like working out. It was very simple. Dalton is a true world caliber athlete, and these are very rare to find, but he has true potential to compete at the world level and win. Not just compete, but also to win. When he went to the high school national championship, they do have expectations in the write-up before you go. Expectation was if Dalton LaCoe shows up, the competition for 114 is going to be for second place, because nobody was going to be able to compete with Dalton, and that was true. The second place winner from Wisconsin came up to me and said, you know, I win every meet by over 100 pounds, but Dalton LaCoe was like close to 300 pounds above him. So Dalton is very exceptional, and you know, we look forward to some more world, let me say, place and first place lists out of Dalton LaCoe.
Talking with Claude Welcome here on the Mendola Show, driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers, and of course Dalton LaCoe, the senior. Dalton, do you consider yourself just a young man who works on the farm with his family, and all this other stuff that's come is just kind of, you know, gravy or whipped cream on top, because you're kind of a grinder. You're in it for what your family has and what you do, but all this stuff, I'm sure, is a whole lot of fun for you.
I sure do. I mean, when I was little, I always wanted to be a Major League Baseball player, but as time grew, I knew that wasn't going to happen. And when I hit powerlifting, I was kind of like, wow, this is pretty big here. And just from living in a small town and coming up and being known, when having people coming up to me in Texas at high school nationals and saying, "Are you Dalton LaCoe?" I'm like, yeah, that's me. And they're like, "Oh my God, I read your article, I saw your video." It's really outstanding. It really makes me feel good. It makes me feel like, you know, I am one that is on top, and, you know, people do look up to me in some way or another.
Dalton, you're such a humble guy, knowing you in a short time here, and a quiet guy. Has all this exposure changed you at all, or are you still the guy that kind of hits the farm and works with his family every single day?
Yeah, no, it hasn't changed me at all. My parents have raised me and taught me to be, you know, to be humble and work your hardest and work for everything that you have. And, that's something that I will do until the day that I die, is work hard for everything I have.
Dalton, people may not know this. You're born with a bone disorder, and you've overcome so much adversity. And in the beginning of powerlifting, people weren't sure. You weren't sure. Your coach wasn't sure. Hey, can you squat? Because of that. And then as time went on, you got some clearances. You're able to do it. And then since you started squatting, boy, you really raised the bar, so to speak, with squatting.
Yeah. My parents have always told me also, not to use my disability as an excuse, and that's something I never did. So whenever I met an obstacle that I couldn't do, it drove me harder to do what I wanted to do the most. And I think that's one of the reasons why I hold the squat record, is because I wanted to squat high just like everybody else, and I couldn't up until a year ago, and now that I can, I'm really trying to take off with it.
Coach Claude Welcome, talk about this young man's form, whether it's the deadlift or the bench press or the squat, what he has, because he has some gifts, but he does work hard at it, and the levels that he's at. As you said, the potential's there for him to just keep raising that bar and keep setting national records and possibly world records.
Oh, yes. Dalton, to me, his natural ability really lies in his deadlift. He's exceptional. Right from the very beginning, his first meet where he did 400 pounds last March, that was exceptional in itself. For him to try 500 pounds just a year later and just barely miss that is still exceptional. And he's still got another year as a teenager to complete that. And I believe he's going to complete that within 3 weeks. The squat is very amazing that he squats as much as he does. I think he has the natural ability to deadlift. He doesn't have the natural ability to be a good squatter. His squat came from just hard work, good technique. When you're lifting that much weight, the technique has to be perfect. You can't deviate at all. A little deviation, you're not going to be able to complete the lift. So he had to really apply himself in the squat to really make up for not being a natural squatter. Same thing in the bench press. Dalton has fairly long arms for his weight class, and it's a big detriment in the bench press. Yet, Dalton is still one of the top bench pressers in his weight class. If not one of the top, he is the top. He's probably about 15 pounds away from the national high school record, but still, he's an amazing bench press, being that he doesn't have they're really anatomical correct proportions to be a great bench presser. So Dalton gets very little bit too. Some people wear bench shirts. Dalton gets very little bit out of using the bench shirt. Matter of fact, today we went to a local meet at Jimthorpe High School. Dalton benched 230 pounds. That is without a bench shirt. That is the same weight that he did in August to win the gold medal in the bench press in the World Championship.
He's an amazing young man, that's for sure. Dalton LaCoe, and of course, Claude Welcome here on the John Mendola Show. We're talking Abington Heights powerlifting. Dalton, people may not know that, again, you said you love baseball, but you also compete in the track and field team there at Abington Heights. So there's some other things you love to do, and why not do it at your senior year?
Yeah, I love being part of teams and everything, and I have friends on the track and field team, and I've known the track and field coaches forever. And since I stopped baseball, I said, I was just going to focus on powerlifting, but I found myself ending up handing in my physical forms for track and field and joining the track and field team. And it's just hard for me not to do more than one sport and just keep myself to one sport. So I decided, why not try out track and field and have fun with it, have fun my senior year.
Talking with Dalton LaCoe and Claude Welcome here on the John Mendola Show, driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Well, Claude, what's up next for Dalton with his schedule? And tell us the next couple of months, because I'm sure you have some things lined up.
Sure. In April 26th, we'll be going to Philadelphia, actually Glenville schools, to compete in what we consider the state high school championship. That's run by an organization called the Pennsylvania State Coaches Powerlifting Organization. It's held at Glenville schools, and that's what we consider as the true Pennsylvania high school championship. We're looking for Dalton to go down there, break all the records that he set there last year, We're looking also for him to receive the Outstanding Lifter Award. And right now, everybody's waiting for Dalton LaCoe to show up down at the at Glen Mills for the state championship just to see what he's going to do. We already put the word out that Dalton's going to try the 500-pound deadlift again down there, and people are waiting to see that. In June, there is the USAPL Open National Championship being held in Philadelphia. Okay, this is the Open National Championship, not high school. Dalton will be entering that to see if he can better the performance that he did at the high school nationals. Right now, Dalton is number one, on the junior team. The junior team is people up to 23 years old. He's number one to gain that spot on the world team to compete in Hungary later this year. After we go to the Open Nationals in June, we may be going to a meet in Denver, Colorado, and this is another meet, national championship, where you are not allowed to wear any equipment. And sometimes I think this is where Dalton's strong point is. He's a good lifter. You will not be able to wrap your knees. You won't wear no bench shirt. And this is the type of lifting I think Dalton will even excel in even greater. I believe Dalton can win that. Dalton wins that, he will represent the United States and Finland next year. So we have some big meets coming up in a matter of about 4 months.
Claude, you find yourself getting nervous at all? I mean, you've trained some top-notch athletes there at Abington Heights, but the direction Dalton's going at this world level, you get nervous at all to make sure you're doing all the right stuff? Because your formula has sure been pretty good.
Well, yeah, we haven't changed anything here in years. We try to keep them motivated. That's the main thing. Keep them motivated, keep them happy, keep them having a good time. Doesn't mean that workouts are easy, but they do have a good time. And do we get a little nervous? Well, yeah, when you have someone on the top, when you're on top, there's only one way to go. It's back down. So when you're on top, yeah, we get a little bit nervous to take the weights right. But, I feel real confident in Dalton. He doesn't worry at the meet. I pick the weights. I have the easy job. I pick the weights. He goes out and lifts the weights. I've been able to kind of gauge just what Dalton can do by watching him lift, and it's worked, for the past year. And what I got to say, what helps out a lot, and any coaching staff, I have excellent assistant coaches that do their part. We all have a part to play, and they do their parts, and it frees me up to do my part to help Dalton along. And without them, it'd be a much more difficult job. But, we all play the part together and, get Dalton ready. And like I said, he just does what we tell him to do, and it makes it easy for us.
Dalton LaCoe, how about the schedule you have ahead of you, and of course what Coach has given you? Tell us about your thoughts with your schedule going forward, and do you have things marked on your calendar? Say, okay, this is up next. This is my goal. That's coming up next.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next couple months. I'm a little nervous to see how everything's going to go because it's coming up quick, boom, boom, boom. But, yeah, I mean, Claude's a great coach, and he picks the weights, and all I do is go out and lift it. I just have to make sure that I'm there to do it, and I'm sure I'll be there, and he'll be there, and he's going to help me. So I'm pretty excited for the next couple months to come around and go to these meets.
Dalton, anything change as far as, what you've been putting in your body food-wise over the past year? How different do you eat? Has that changed a lot since you've been powerlifting?
Yeah, I mean, whenever I run cross country, I try to cut out junk food. And now that whenever, a meet comes close, like a month before high school nationals, I tried to cut out a lot of my salt intake, a lot of my sugar intake, and just try and eat healthier food, less junk food, less ice cream. And, it does make you feel better, but it also cuts out water weight and cuts out all that excess fat and stuff, which will help you build leaner muscle and be stronger and fitter. So, but after a meet, I pig out and I eat all that I want. But a couple months before a meet, then I'll try and eat healthier than I usually do.
Well, you got a great plan ahead of you with your coach, Claude Welcome, over the next several months. We're rooting for you here, not only in northeastern Pennsylvania, but anyone who has gone through the Abington Heights program, the alum, and anybody who knows Claude Welcome, or, of course, Dalton LaCoe, family and friends and people from northeastern Pennsylvania rooting you guys on. So thank you so much, Claude, and, of course, Dalton, the best of luck in your future.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that's Dalton LaCoe. Claude Welcome, Abington Heights Powerlifting here on the John Mendola Show, driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers.